Dr. Phil.
Rich traded in his headshot for a mugshot.
Before his family comes out,
Some things happened last night.
a candid one-on-one.
You can get a double shot at tequila and you got no money. So they call us.
You're driving Dr. Phil stuff crazy.
You got the wrong. You took him out to talk to you.
I always hated asking people for anything.
You have no problem asking us for anything.
Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
I try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. How you doing? Hey guys, how are you? Well, Pat and George say their son Rich joined the Marines out of high school as a bright but out of control kid. They thought it would really be a turning point for their troubled teen. But after less than 2 years and a not so honorable discharge, Rich traded in his headshot for a mugshot. Several of them, in fact. His parents blame his dozens of arrests on his drug and alcohol addiction, and today they say he's gone from Marine to Mooch. After 8 years, Pat and George have paid for everything Rich has asked for. They bought him a house, apartments, food, clothes, phones, travel. I mean, they've done it all. Now, their daughter Adrienne reached out to me because she doesn't know whose addiction is worse, her brother's addiction to drugs and alcohol or her parents' addiction to enabling him. Take a look.
My brother Rich is a trash can addict. He'll do any drug that's available to numb his pain because he has nothing to look forward to. My brother has no enjoyment in his life except for getting loaded. My brother is physically addicted to alcohol. If alcohol is not available, my brother will find something to make him high. You wake up in the morning, you're looking for that fix. Your whole day is dedicated to getting drugs and alcohol. Anything that he can manipulate, sell, barter, he will. That's the life of an addict. My brother will call my parents for money multiple times per day. If my parents tell my brother no, my brother will become verbally aggressive. He just won't take no for an answer.
You know, there's no food, so I'll be miserable with no cigarettes or nothing.
Richard treats both my parents like they're his indentured servants. He'll curse them out. He'll call my mom a piece of bitch. He calls my dad an idiot. My brother will pick and pick and pick and torture you until you give him what he wants. And that's the addict part of him.
It doesn't have to be right now, Dad. It can be later on today. Western Union is everywhere. They're not closed.
My parents are both overwhelmed with my brother's addiction. It's killing them. It's very, very painful to watch. My greatest fear is that my brother will kill himself in his addiction. And when he does, my parents will forever blame themselves.
Well, Pat and George say everything they've given Rich was with the hope that he would finally get his life together.
In the last 8 years, we have spent over $225,000 on Rich. We rented 2 apartments, bought a house for $98,000, paid for all his sober living homes.
My parents are huge enablers, and they have been for years. My parents think they're helping him by giving him money, paying his rent. My dad is the leader of the enabling team, and my mom is just like along for the ride.
Your son calls and says he doesn't have food, he doesn't have clothes, he got kicked out of where he's living, he's going to be homeless. And you just keep doing the same thing. We don't know what else to do.
My brother is addicted to drugs and alcohol, and my dad is addicted to enabling him. Whatever my brother wants, his wish is my father's command.
He knows if he keeps on calling, sooner or later I'm going to give in.
Hey, what's up, Dad? I got no spending money or nothing. I'm going to run out of cigarettes, and all I'm asking for is like $10 and then I'll be fine.
It's not many times that I said no.
What they're doing is exactly what Dr. Phil calls insanity. They're doing it over and over and over again and expecting a different result.
We created a money-hungry monster.
He used to help me out all the time. It wasn't even an issue, but lately it's like, you know, I always find a way anyway, so, you know, I'm trying to like get better, do good, and they came and like, what is $15 extra?
I've told them, you think you feel guilty now. If he kills himself, your money is the money that caused it to happen.
Listen, I know you guys have not seen him for a long time, right? How many years?
3 years.
Okay, but I'm going to ask you to wait just a little bit longer because some things happened last night.
Wow.
Since we've flown him in here that I want to talk to him about before you guys come out.
Okay.
And y'all have been trying to help him by giving him a soft place to fall.
Yes.
And that's the last damn thing I think he needs. Okay? The crap he pulled last night is not okay with me, and I need to deal with that with him just man to man straight up before you guys come out and meet him.
Okay. Thank you,
And
Dr.
then
Yes.
we'll get right to that.
Great, thanks.
Okay, Rich was kicked out of his last sober living house and recently moved into a new one in Florida that his parents found and paid for. But he says the living room is too small and he can't find a job because there are none. Begins to smack of attitude that I think you'll understand. So take a look at this and then we're going to meet this young man.
I get up in the morning, sometimes it's 8 or 9, and then you gotta be out the house from anywhere from like 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Yeah, this is my room. I'm sure a million other people have been in this bed before me. Yeah, this is the living room over here. It's a little way too tight for my liking.
What's a typical day for you here?
Lately I've been beaten down, so I don't do much of anything really. Just try to find things to keep my mind busy. Yeah, it's just some candy my mom sent me. When I first started off in Halfway, she used to send me a lot better stuff. I guess they're running out of money or they don't care as much.
And how many times have you been in sober living homes?
So I've probably been about 20, 25 plus. This house, you're supposed to be out if you don't got a job. But honestly, I applied to every place around here, so I kind of just been roaming the streets with no money. And that isn't good, especially for somebody that used to drink all the time. If I wasn't in a Halfway, honestly, I'd go out all the time, and I usually end up meeting people and hanging out. In certain Halfways, I'd carry on packets of hot sauce. It like masks your breath if you've been drinking, you know. I mean, I've sold gaming systems. I sold my TV to, buy alcohol or get drugs. I sold my food stamps. And if I'm really hurting, I'll make up stories to random citizens. Usually get anywhere from a couple $, to $10.
When was the last time you had a drink?
Last time I had a drink was probably like 2.5 weeks ago. I'll get fed up with the Halfway lifestyle, and something sounds better than nothing after a while.
Okay, Rich, how do you feel about being here?
I mean, I feel all right. I mean, half the time I was thinking on and off here and there, I must be maybe a little crazy to come on this show. I mean, most people though said it would be a good thing for me. And I should definitely do it, but every once in a while, somebody would say, you're going to be on air, and everybody's going to know about the problems you have.
You're worried about your reputation?
Yeah.
You started drugs when you were 13, right?
Correct.
You've been homeless. You've been to rehab, 3 times? You've been in 25?
4 times.
4 times. You've been in 25 or so sober living houses. Mm-hmm. You've been to court over a dozen times, 15 times.
That's right.
And nothing seems to be working. You say you're addicted to alcohol, but you say you've done Xanax, heroin, coke, weed. You'll do about anything you can get your hands on, but mostly it's alcohol. So how's this working for you?
It's not one of my favorite questions.
Well, no, seriously, how's it working for you?
It's not working at all. I mean, it's.
Do you want to change this?
I do.
Are you serious about being here?
I am, but I wouldn't be on TV if I wasn't. That's a big.
What's this thing about TV? Is it like you have a following out there? What is this fiction you have in your mind that there's somebody out there that you're gonna ruin the image they had of you before now?
See, I just don't like when people judge and when people think they know all about somebody.
Who knows you in Omaha? Who knows you in Detroit? Who is it that you're concerned about?
I understand what
that you're going to ruin your image with them. Who knows you?
Yeah, you're right.
So you showed up drunk. Then we get a call. You've ordered a double shot of tequila. You got no money. You just order the drink.
It's pretty stupid.
We paid the bill with the reservation of rights to have you prosecuted. And later,
I couldn't wait to get away from you. Wouldn't leave us alone. You kept asking for money.
You're never going to be a part of our family because you can't.
So
You have to stop.
did you send us a picture of specific toiletries that you wanted us to have?
I did, because I was told I could check a bag, and of course I wasn't able to check the bag, and it was
Why not?
pretty late at night. It wasn't paid for, so I had to get rid of a lot of my stuff.
When
Go
you
off
got
on
here, did you
drive.
complain that we didn't get the right sizes?
I wouldn't say it was necessarily a complaint, but I mean, I just like nice stuff. It doesn't have to be the best in the world, but my stuff that I get for myself isn't cheap. And the toothpaste I had before, it was about for a tube like that big, it was probably about $8.
Let's take
I got like a $4.
let's take a look at this tape
That's
piece.
all. It's
Let's take a look at this little tape piece here.
It's supposed to be Brilliance, 30 white Brilliance.
Instead of what?
And it's just like a $6 tube instead of like a $12 tube.
Okay, did we get the right tube?
I got the wrong tube.
Again?
So what are you about 27?
I thought you have 2 tubes of toothpaste.
Yeah, well I got 2 tubes.
Well, where's the second? Where's the second one?
It's in my duffel bag. That's the wrong one. That's the very wrong one.
Then what about the mouthwash? Didn't we do that wrong?
Yeah, you did the mouthwash wrong.
Twice? Is the right?
Well, you finally got it. No, you got it right the second time. As you can probably tell, I was intoxicated at the time.
So you showed up drunk. You said that you'd been sober for 2 weeks.
I was.
Didn't you just say you were drunk in that?
No, in that video, yes.
Yeah. That was when?
That was yesterday, last night.
Where'd you get the booze?
I went out and just talked to this guy, and he had some money, and then I got some alcohol with him.
So you just met him on the street?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've flown you in here to the Dr. Phil show to deal with your alcohol addiction, and you decide to go out of the hotel and find a drunk on the street that you can share a bottle with.
I didn't exactly plan it that way, but that's kind of what happened. I mean,
I'm trying to figure out what your thinking is, because here's my thinking. You get the opportunity to come here and sit down and talk to me, and you're bitching about the size of a tube of toothpaste, and then because we know it's not a good idea for our guest to come here and get liquored up on our dime, we have a deal with the hotels that they can't spend any of the money that we arrange for them there, the meal vouchers, all the things to take care of their expenses. They don't get to spend that on alcohol. Whether they have an alcohol problem or not, they don't get to spend it on alcohol. But then I get an email from the hotel yesterday, just FYI, I was informed by room service that the meal credit is being used to order a bottle of an alcoholic beverage. Then we get a call from Tony Roma's on City Walk.
okay.
And you've ordered alcohol at Tony Roma's City Walk, and you got no money to pay.
No.
One well tequila double. So you go in there and get a double shot of tequila. You got no money, you just order the drink.
It wasn't the best decision I ever made in my life, probably amongst my worst. Obviously, it was pretty stupid.
So they call us. This is Lindy over here, our producer. So
Dr.
Lindy,
Hill.
they called you, right?
Yes, sir, they did.
And said this was dine and dash. He ordered and couldn't
Correct.
pay, right?
Yes, sir. And at this point, I did not know what he had ordered. I later had the manager email me a receipt, an itemized receipt, so I saw what he ordered. But I wasn't sure if he was going to be arrested for not being able to pay his tab, so I just took care of it over the phone, and luckily they let me do that.
We paid the bill with the reservation of rights to call LAPD and have you prosecuted. So I didn't waive my right to have you prosecuted. So I'll make that decision between now and the end of the show.
Okay.
And right now, it ain't looking too good.
Always hated asking people for anything.
That's not true.
Not to suggest that you're entitled, but you're complaining about the kind of candy that your mother's sending you in a care package. And later,
Did you know that Dad drank, Richard?
Dad drank.
Yeah. He's been sober for 33 years and he drank. You're killing them.
He's so used to us giving him money that he'll badger you and make you feel bad, and then we wind up giving him money.
I got $2 left in my pocket. That's it. And it's not a big deal. You know, I'll just go to the damn Western Union. I got my ID now.
Without their finances, my brother would not be able to live this addict life for all these years.
well, that was Rich's family talking about how they pay for his habits. So Adrian, Pat, George, come on out.
So, okay.
How you
We're
doing?
in three.
Good.
I love too. Looking good, Rich. I want to kill you, man.
Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to give you all a minute because you haven't seen each other for a long time. What's your thought? What's your reaction?
I just hope and I pray that today you can get through to him so he can have a life and be happy. It's all we want. I really want you back, Rich. I miss you so much.
I miss you guys. I wanted to be back for the longest time, honestly, and
But you can't come back like this.
I understand.
You can't come back as an addict, Rich. You need to come back as yourself.
We're using last night and the day before that.
Rich, I couldn't believe it when Dr. Phil came in the back of the stage. He said, "What happened?" You know, I was saying to your mother and your sister while we got the hotel, I said, "I can't believe it. Rich is not coming over here to get something, or he's not calling every 5 minutes." And now I know why. You're driving Dr. Phil stuff crazy, asking for stuff. I tell you, if it wasn't for these people, Phil and Dr. Phil, I really want to put my foot somewhere, man.
I just get very impatient, and then I start getting impulsive, and it's just like I want to step outside of my head because it's almost too much to bear. It's like the flip of a light.
Well, who can give you that peace of mind, Rich?
Only myself.
Thank you.
Yes.
You know, I always hated asking people for anything, and as time goes on, no, I do.
You had no problem asking us for anything. You had no problem calling Lindy and asking for all kinds of things. That's not true.
I think your real self would not be asking people for things, but you, the addict, will ask anybody for anything. I think that's maybe what you mean.
Yeah, it's almost like I can't help it.
Yeah, let's listen to a phone call that you had with your dad recently. Listen to this.
Hey, what's up, Dad? I got no spending money or nothing. I'm gonna run out of cigarettes, and thank God because there'd be no food. I would have died by now. You know, there's no food. All I'm asking for is like $10 and then I'll be fine. I want 15, but you know, $10 will be fine. And it's not a big deal. You know, I'll just go to the damn. It's right up the street. The damn Western Union. I got my ID now, so I got $2 left in my pocket. That's it. I'm gonna need cigarettes tonight and tomorrow. I probably won't sleep tonight, so I'll be miserable with no cigarettes or nothing. And I need $15. That I need dip and cigarettes. I need something on the plane, or else I'm gonna go insane.
Look, I gotta go.
Yeah, honestly, like that. Like looking at that video, like it doesn't even seem like me. Like,
Do you think they owe you?
I don't think they owe me. I mean, I'll probably not hold it against them, but it will always maybe bother me that they sent me to boarding school when I was at the time smoking. I was smoking some weed here and there, and I was drinking once in a while. And I got in some legal issues to where they felt like, somebody was like bending their wrist to, do it. They had no other, option. So they felt like it was going to be the best possible help, available to me. And it was like hell on earth. I did pretty good there, actually.
So you were smoking dope, drinking, getting in trouble with the law, and you're saying you resent them for sending you to a school that you say worked?
No, it helped me out, but it was kind of like I felt like I missed out in a way because a lot of friends that I had before then, a lot of people that I kept in touch with.
When you choose the behavior, you choose the consequences. Did you choose to drink, smoke dope, and get in trouble with the law?
I did.
I'm sorry that you didn't like the choices they made to cope with your bad choices. They weren't perfect parents then. They're not perfect parents now. Right. Believe you me. They're not perfect parents now.
They're very good parents. I mean, maybe the only thing, maybe they gave me a little too much money when I was younger,
Oh, we're going to look at the money they've been giving you, but I mean, you were complaining about the quality of candy she sent you the other day. I mean, not to suggest that you're entitled, but you're complaining about the kind of candy that your mother's sending you in a care package. He says she's sending him cheaper candy now. I'm going to tell you why that candy may be getting a little smaller, maybe getting a little cheaper. We'll be right back. He has no reason to get better. He can always pick up the phone and you pay off like a slot machine, and he knows it.
It makes me feel like a piece of crap.
Rich has struggled with addiction most of his life. He was snorting heroin a lot. He's done cocaine.
And he also told my wife that he did use Percocet.
Rich has been to court at least 15 times over the years. One of them was for 13 bags of heroin. Rich has been to rehab 4 different times, plus he's been to over 20 different sober houses in the past 4 years. He told me that he used while in the sober house. My son Rich has gone into gay bars and told people he was bisexual just to get drunk and get as many drinks as he possibly could. It's very, very difficult to be the mother of an alcoholic drug addict.
The family's estimated expenses for Rich, let's just take a look at this. Before April 13, they bought him a house for $98,000. $4,800 on an apartment, $6,000 on court and attorney fees. Now, this house turned into what?
Shooting gallery.
And what you mean by that is this became a drug house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Since moving out of state in April 13, $900 for airplane tickets, $1,200 cash, gift cards, $6,900 for recovery facility, $3,600 on hotels, $4,200 for sober living, $13,200 for rent, $5,600 for rent, $6,300 for rent, $4,800 for trucks, $5,700 for cigarettes, $450 for bus passes, cabs, restaurants, medical expenses, at least 10 phones, then the bills, social security cards and IDs, clothes, personal hygiene. Any idea how much just this adds up to? And this isn't all. It's shocking. $174,866.
Yes.
What do you have to show for $175,000?
Not even a penny. I don't have it.
And what do you suppose it would mean to these retirement age parents if all of a sudden they looked in their bank account and there was $175,000 back in there? What would that mean to you guys?
I could retire, Dr. Phil.
When we talked to you, I put together some of the things that I thought were just outrageous that you had to say about how you interact with him. George, these are quotes. I'm afraid to answer the phone when he calls. I know he's going to ask for something, and I feel guilty if I say no. If I tell him no, I get upset after I hang up because I feel like I can't help him. It's easier to just give in. Every time he gets arrested, I bail him out. I call everybody I know and find and pay for a lawyer because I know he didn't do whatever he did in a malicious state. He didn't mean it. We continue to support him financially. We pay for everything, rent, food, clothes, everything. We bought him a house, $98,000 because we didn't want him in ours. He goes to restaurants, orders food, and has no money to pay the bill. The restaurant calls us, and we pay with our credit card. Then we talk to Pat. I remember going out at 2:30, 3 a.m. in my pajamas to pick him up at bars so he wouldn't have to walk home. We got him an apartment because we didn't want him living with us anymore. We rented him a U-Haul for him and his then girlfriend to move their things into the house we bought him. Rich was raging in the family home. George wanted to call the police, but I didn't because I didn't want the police to hurt or taser him. I talked George out of calling the police. To stop the free-flowing cash, I started ordering food. He didn't even go pick it up. They would deliver it to him. Yeah. When we die, who is going to pay for him? I keep giving him money because I fear him becoming homeless and winding up dead. Then I will feel responsible.
I'm the type of person, Dr. Phil, that I don't care about myself much. But what actually bothers me is that I know that Richard didn't get any better.
You say I don't care much for myself, like that's some kind of virtue? I mean, do you think that's like a martyr here? We don't need a martyr, we need a father.
I know.
Look, you can either have $175,000 in your pocket and he's an alcoholic and an addict, or you can not have $175,000 in your pocket and he's an alcoholic and an addict. All you've done, you just might as well take that money and put it in a paper shredder. The only thing you've done is make it easier for him to be self-destructive. And the old saying, necessity is the mother of invention. He has no necessity to get better. He has no reason to get better. He can always pick up the phone and call you guys, and you pay off like a slot machine, and he knows it.
The past like 4 or so months, you haven't really
recently.
helped too much. And when you do, it's like when I talk to the conversation, it's like I dread it, and then it's like, yeah, I feel worse.
Just wears you out,
even if they help me out, I feel worse afterwards than when I did before.
I hate that for you. It wears you out. It makes you feel bad.
Well,
To fleece them out of money.
It makes me feel like a piece of crap.
Coming up, Rich isn't the only one battling an addiction. What the family hasn't told Rich about George's own struggle.
It was maybe 3 o'clock in the morning, and he was drunk, and he was looking for money, and he said to me, maybe I should go and stand in front of a train. He said that so I'd give him money so that I'd feel guilty and I'd feel bad. Ultimately, after that happened, we did wind up giving him money.
You have no pride because you don't work for anything.
Oh, he's got pride. I mean, because he tells me here, he thinks everywhere he goes, everybody he's there with is beneath him. I mean, all the people in the treatment centers, they're bozos. Everybody he was in the military with treatment, they were bozos. All these people in treatment, they're really messed up. I mean, like, you really, I'm here with a bunch of messed up people. I mean, they're not like me. These people are a bunch of drunks.
Some of them are pretty messed up. I mean, I'd say
as
half
compared
of them
to you,
are like me.
As compared to you,
half of them are pretty mentally and just the way they live, and it bothers me because I'm the type I keep my surroundings clean. I like living in a clean place, so a lot of times it'll bother me enough to where I'll be cleaning up after them. Then you got to worry about them eating your food, using your like shower products. Almost every time I went, I've been gone for more than 2 or more days. I've gotten stuff stolen.
Did you know that Dad drank, Richard?
Dad drank?
Yeah.
No, I know he was like a binge drinker when he was young.
No, Rich, he's been sober for 33 years and he drank.
you had a relapse 2 weeks ago.
I did because, well, I've been sober all this time. And lately I've been trying to do the right thing by trying to cut Richard off.
You're killing them.
And
I see that.
Please, Richard.
I know I'm killing myself as well.
Yes, you are.
And it's hard to not see you guys for I've seen you and Allison like a couple times over you're down for like 3 days. It's tougher to see
You're
what
an
I'm doing, you
addict,
guys.
Richard.
It wasn't a fun time, Rich. You know, we couldn't wait to get away from you. You wouldn't leave us alone. You kept asking for money.
Rich, I told you I only come to see you when you have a job and pay your own way, stand your own feet. Rich, I'm still waiting, man.
We're all waiting, and it feels like it's never going to come. You're never going to be a part of our family because you can't
That's how it almost feels for me as well, and that's how I've been feeling
Well, then you
almost
have
for
the
the
power.
past like
You
8
have the
months.
power to change that, Richard. We don't. Only you do. You have to do it. You have to stop. This is no life for you. This is no life for them. My kids don't even know you.
But don't you get it? He doesn't have to stop. They make certain that he doesn't have to stop.
Well, I hope
they
after
make
today they
certain
listen
that he
to
can
you.
continue on. And let me tell you guys, you want the ugly truth? You're doing what you're doing to make yourselves feel better. You're not doing it to make him better.
No,
you're
you're
doing
right.
it to
You're
make
right.
yourselves feel better.
You're right.
It is gutless and cowardly to do what you're doing. You're doing it because you want to feel better in the moment.
Right.
Yes.
You tell him what he wants to hear so you can tell yourself you're a loving parent in the moment, and it tells you, okay, my son's not on the street.
Right.
You bail him out of jail. The safest place he could be at that moment was in jail.
Yes.
But you took him out because you didn't want to feel the guilt. So you put yourself ahead of him. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Take a break. I'm going to tell him what I think needs to happen here if this is ever going to change when we come back. The problem that you guys don't understand and that you don't understand, you're dealing with a different version of Rich here. Because when you are an alcoholic, you're an alcoholic, right? You're an alcoholic, your personality changes, your coping skills changes, your social development is arrested. He's not functioning at a 29-year-old level of social emotional maturity because the development was arrested at a much earlier age. This is the brain of a normal person. The light green areas here you see are electrical activity of a normal person, like looking at the freeway in rush hour. Lots going on. Zzz, 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 zzz. This is the brain of an alcoholic. It's like a Model A's coming through every once in a while, and old broken down trucks coming out. It's all shut down. And alcohol attacks the brain in so many different areas. This is the nucleus accumbens up here. This is where you have the drive to drink. And whenever this is when alcohol comes in, it activates this area. So when you start drinking, it hits the hypothalamus, it makes you thirsty, it makes you hungry. Then it goes into the hippocampus, where they start having all kinds of memory loss. They start having blackouts, and this is when this area gets affected. This is one of the areas that starts making them loud and aggressive. Then you come up here to the cerebral cortex, and this is where they start having problems with thinking, and you start seeing really poor judgment. It attacks the cerebellum. This is where you start having problems with balance and coordination and slower reflexes. So you're not just talking about somebody that's getting drunk and partying, it's attacking the brain. Now, you may not have known before, but you know now.
Yes.
So next time you decide you want to send him some money, next time you want to decide that you're going to make it easy for him to do what he's doing, you might as well hit him in the head with a ball-peen hammer, because you are poisoning his brain. Now, hopefully, through this fog, you can comprehend enough of what I'm saying here.
I understand everything you're saying.
Because right now, you are such a distorted reality. You are entitled. You are lazy. You have no direction, but you can. I mean, come on, you're a good-looking guy. You have a charming personality.
Thank you.
If you would work half as hard on getting yourself sober and employed and engaged as you do manipulating people, who knows what you could do?
Absolutely.
You got talent, man.
Absolutely.
You got talent. All right, look, are Rich and his parents willing to do what's right to save this family? Because let me tell you, this is not about an alcoholic son. It's about a dysfunctional alcoholic family. We'll be right back. Look, here's the deal. We have access to the best resources in the world. I don't waste those resources. I don't squander those resources. I am not willing to make them available to this family until I understand some things from you folks. And first off, you don't need to go to some 28-day rehab program. Now, I am willing to consult with Origins Behavioral Health Care, which I think is the nation's top dual diagnosis treatment center, and ask them to bring in the appropriate neurologist and the appropriate endocrinologist and bring in the people to truly figure out everything that is going on with you and give you the best shot you have ever had at getting yourself healthy and getting yourself clean and getting yourself moving forward. But I am not even almost willing to do that if you people are going to sabotage the best efforts that can be made.
Absolutely.
You have my
And-
word on it, Dr. Phil.
There are serious commitments, and you need to think very hard about them, and unless and until you do, I am not willing to make that commitment of resources, and if you do, then I am. And if this is something that you're willing to immerse yourself in, then I will. One diva request, one complaint about the type or size of toothpaste, your ass is on the curb.
That's fine.
That's it. Special thanks to my guest today, and a special thanks to Origins Behavioral Health Care if they get involved. If you or someone you know is dealing with a loved one who is taking advantage of others, tell me about it. I can help you. Thanks so much for being here. Think hard about this. All right. You guys talk about that. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys.
on an all-new Dr. Phil. A boxing champ takes on his greatest opponent, himself.
He cannot differentiate how to behave in the ring and how to behave out of the ring. He's had at least 10 restraining orders. He went to prison for assault.
Drugs.
Where's my weed, woman?
He's in denial of all of this.
I'm here to get better, not to get criticized, to get put down.
Do you not like yourself?
Breakdowns.
I didn't want to cry on the show, man. I want to hurt myself.
Why? Why do you deserve to be hurt?
And breakthroughs.
I'm not here to judge you at all. I'm here to help you. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
Today is going to be a changing day in your life.
5, 4.
Get ready to take care of you.
Round the winner by technical knockout and new USBA middleweight champion, Brian the Bull Barbosa.
Well, that announcement was something two-time interim world middleweight champion Brian Barbosa heard over 30 times during his career. But that bell, which often declared a knockout victory, is something Brian may never hear again, because this former champ is now fighting his toughest opponent ever, himself. Now, I know most of you are not former world champion boxers or living with one, but that doesn't mean this story isn't for you. Everyone deals with hardships. Everyone deals with things they have to overcome. And you're going to learn what it takes today to be a champion in your own life. But first, Brian's fiancée Gina says when she met Brian nearly 3 years ago, he was a shell of a man, much less a world champion. Take a look.
Brian moved in with myself and my other roommates about 6 months after we met because his girlfriend had kicked him out and he needed help. So when Brian came to me, he had no birth certificate, no social security card, no license, no car. He had nothing. He was homeless for over a decade. I knew what I was getting into when I agreed to help him. He had a history of addiction and violence.
Look at me, I don't care about that. I don't want to be that person no more.
He's had at least 10 restraining orders in the past. He went to prison for assault. So at this point, my parents have had enough. They're basically speechless, and they're constantly asking me, Gina, what are you doing? How long are you going to do this?
You're going to break my foot, Brian. It's on video, so let the door open.
I literally had to become his lawyer, his executive secretary, his nutritionist, his boxing manager, and his overall life coach, mentor, advocate.
If I release him back to the streets, he will victimize other women. If he gets his license very soon, he will get behind the wheel of a car and he could kill himself or other people.
I knew what I was getting into. I knew I was going to have to go through the fire for the potential and possibility for him to get well.
Well, Gina, this is a full-time challenge with this individual because this is not something that just cropped up overnight. He's been fighting this for a long, long time, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And
his whole life, really.
Right. And he was homeless for how long?
He wouldn't say he was homeless because he always found somebody to take him in.
Right.
So my version of homeless is a little bit different. So at least over a decade.
You say he can get violent, and you're afraid if he was just cut loose and on the street, he could certainly get violent. He has the ability to really do damage because this is a trained professional. Yeah, I mean,
his hands are registered weapons.
Yeah, a world champion middleweight.
Yeah.
And now he says that he will walk off the stage if you embarrass him. What is he afraid you're going to embarrass him with?
He's developed narcissistic ways, and so he's a liar. And I say that I'm just trying to be transparent. You know, he's trying to cover the truth and put on a mask that everything is great and fine and wonderful. But I can't live like that. And the truth has to be told. For him to get well, he's going to start telling the truth.
You knew a lot about him when you met him.
I did. Well, I kind of summed him up. I mean, I work with drug addicts. I was a drug addict.
You're a trained professional in this arena.
Yes,
right?
exactly. Yep. Yeah, I have 30 years experience personally and professionally. I've been through my own fire. I was that victim. I was abused terribly. I should not be here today. I have my own story, and I've used my story to help a lot of other women and men. It doesn't matter to me, anybody I can help. So I am a certified recovery coach. I'm a licensed chaplain, a licensed outreach minister. But he is an extreme case, and that's why this is my last resort.
Yeah, gotcha.
You know.
So how did Brian go from boxing title holder to being destitute? Gina says Brian would say it has a whole lot to do with the demons in his head. Let's listen to this and you'll see what we mean.
When I have an issue that I'm not comfortable with, I automatically go off the grid.
So Brian's been diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder, PTSD, ADHD, learning disability, traumatic brain injury, and substance abuse.
My brain, Gina, my brain. I haven't slept in 2 days. What impacts me today is my depression, my anxiety, my traumatic brain injury from my boxing. Because of all the fights that I've had, it's hard for me to focus. I'm worried about my thought process. Every good thought and proper thought shuts down, and all the evilness of this world comes in.
In his mind, Brian lives in his own reality, so everything is Brian's. You know, every girl he meets, if he moves in with her, it's his house. So Brian has the mentality of what's mine is mine and what's yours is mine.
I'm worried about my brain injury.
So Brian's memory is incredibly bad. I could tell him something and literally 30 seconds later, he's asking me the same question. He definitely has paranoia over several different things. Me cheating on him all the time.
You cheated because you're smoking crack, you slut.
His paranoia is happening literally as we're filming Dr. Phil. 20 missed calls from him. This is what's been happening as we're shooting. Like he's blowing up my phone. He's paranoid. He's like making comments like, "Oh yeah, you're filming. Yeah, okay." Because he's upstairs and he can't be down here. He's freaking out. An hour we've been filming. He thinks there's something else going on other than filming. I've seen the beast that the other women have told me about. It's like his face changes and it's evil and it's almost like he's possessed.
Well, Brian, it's good to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Doctor.
And I'm glad that you came here. And let me tell you straight up, I'm not here to judge you at all. I'm here to help you. A lot of people could judge you, and I'm not here to do that. I'm here to help you. And I've grown up in athletics, and I had to stop athletics because of a brain injury. And I've been there, so I've got some empathy for what you're dealing with. So don't think I'm here to throw you under the bus, because I'm not. I just want to get real about what's going on, and I want to start by you telling me, when things are good with you, and everybody is on a roller coaster, when things are good with you, what's it like to be you? What's a good day in your life like?
Thank you. I'm the best person you'll ever meet. I love my daughters. I love children. I have a grandson, man. You know, my first little boy. You know, he's only like 5 months, and this guy's like, you know, my heart. I'm trying not to cry. Thank you, sir. Thank you. You know, so I'm keeping this.
I ain't gonna take it away from you.
No, it says Dr. Phil on it, so you can sign it after.
Well, I'm the last guy going to try to take something away from you.
You know.
All right, I got another question for you. Gina says that Brian's brain has definitely been damaged from violent blows in the ring, but that he also has a drug and alcohol addiction that hasn't helped him over the years. Now, Brian says addiction is not the problem. We're going to talk about that, and I've got another important question for Brian right after the break. Well, Gina says her fiance, Brian, abuses drugs and alcohol, not every day of his life, but when he does, it's like throwing gasoline on an already out-of-control fire. Take a look.
Yeah, right. Let's go. Come on.
When Brian is drunk, he calls me the most disgusting, vulgar names that I would never repeat on television. He will drive me crazy asking to go out for a drink over and over again until I get worn down and worn out enough where I just give in. We'll go get a drink.
And I'll fool her into having a drink, and then I'll have a drink, and then I'll keep having another one and another one.
So the drinks then lead to him wanting to get a bag of cocaine, at which point I have surrendered and given up because I cannot fight any longer. If I try to stop him, he'll just take off and he'll be gone for a day, 2 days. I just never know.
Give me my car back.
He will literally physically stumble out the door, bouncing off the walls, and leave the house on a mission to find coke or crack. He'll either hang out on the streets for hours or he'll end up hanging out at one of his homies' houses. Just last week, he went on a bender for 3 days, ended up spending about $1,000, came home broke.
So why are you in my couch right now?
Because I'm looking for
You know what? You already tore up my couch, so it's time to stop.
When Brian is high, he gets paranoid that he hid something, and so he will pick apart anything that is the closest thing to him, swearing that he left or hid some drugs in there, or he'll accuse me of stealing his drugs.
Oh, you lost your weed?
No, I got my weed. I'm just saying, where's my weed, woman?
The love of his life, I named her Crackahol, because a man that loves something that much and is willing to lay down his life for her, sacrifice his children, sacrifice his, quote, wife, is clearly in love with that.
I ask you what it's like on a good day when things are really good in your life. Tell me what it's like on a really dark day. Do you not like yourself? What do you say to yourself?
I didn't want to cry on the show, man. I didn't want to cry on the show.
That's okay. Just talk through the tears. It doesn't matter.
I want to hurt myself even more. You know what I'm saying?
Why? Why do you deserve to be hurt?
Because I didn't feel worthy of being loved when I was a kid, you know. The reason why I became the fighter that I became was because that was the only, for me, it was the only attention I could get from people. You know what I mean? Oh, if they love me now, I'm the champ, you know. As far as my mother's concerned, my mother gave me up to my grandparents. She would promise me that she'd come get me, but I'd sit there and wait. Now, when you promise a child that you're gonna go get them, or that they're gonna be with you again, and the mother doesn't show up, I go crazy, man. Like, what? My mother didn't come when she's supposed, I'm sitting there counting days like I'm in prison or something, you know? And it tore me up. And it's a shame to say so, but it's hurting me today. You know, I'm 47 years old, you know, and I missed out because of my drug use and because of my drinking. I missed out on a lot of things.
Tell me about Jody.
Come on, man.
Do you worry that she's going to leave you?
Absolutely.
You were abandoned by your mother, and Jody left you. You think she's going to leave you?
Just answer the question. That would be good.
about Jody?
Come on, man. Jody, huh? Jody was the only thing, the closest thing that she was my soulmate. She was what Gina is now, man. So when she passed away, I felt like I was abandoned again. You know, so I didn't care about my daughter, our daughter. I didn't care about my other daughters. I didn't care about me. I also used an excuse, her death as an excuse for people to feel bad for me to go do degrading things. And, you know, I hated my life, man. I hated my life.
How did she die?
Car accident. So that's another thing I have that I'm like, I feel so guilty about. So I carry guilty, hurt, depression, all that stuff for my head.
You have those feelings about Gina now.
Oh, yeah, Gina's my new Jody.
You feel close to her.
I love that woman.
Do you worry that she's going to leave you?
Absolutely.
You were abandoned by your mother. Jody left you. You think she's going to leave you?
I don't think she's, well, I hope she doesn't leave me.
Well, you certainly test her every day.
Well, that's over after this show, that's for sure.
Are you testing her? Are you trying to see if she'll leave you?
It's over. I'm not testing you no more, I promise.
Just answer the question. That would be good.
Excuse me?
Do you think that's why you do that? Are you trying to see if she'll leave you?
No, it's fear.
So that's a yes.
Okay.
I mean, you're afraid she's going to leave you, so you're trying to test her to see if she will. Does it feel good when you wake up and she's still there? Does it feel good at least for a little while?
I feel bad.
That you did that?
Yeah.
How do you get where you don't feel like you have to earn your right to stay around? You said people love you when you're a champion, but of course when you're not, they have no use for you.
That's so true.
You're a cash cow when you're a champion, and when you're not, they move on, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of hard to answer because I kind of forgot what you just said. I'm so sorry.
No, I understand. Listen, I get it. What I'm saying is you grow up in a world where you have to earn your right to be around. And you said that. You said, I got to do better and better and better. And that's so they'll let me stay around. If I'm ever just me, I'm not worthy enough to be around. I have to earn it. I got to be a champion. I got to be better. I got to be better. I got to be better. Because just me, I'm not worthy enough to be allowed to stay around. Is that how you feel?
Absolutely.
Yep.
You won't even believe who love you really until you lose. When you lose, then those people are there for you, you know?
Yeah. That's why they say your real friends are the one that are coming in the door when everybody else is going out.
That's true.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, next, Gina says that she really worries that if she ever left Brian, he could, and I quote, become a danger to society. We're going to find out why she says that after the break.
Brian is adored by so many people because he's, you know, the boxer, Brian the Bull. Everybody who knows him knows that he has these issues, but they still have no problem blessing him. handing him money, giving him rides, whatever he asks for, he can get. He is one of Rhode Island's prize fighters, and he totally feeds off that. It feeds his ego and uses it at this point to manipulate and get his way. His popularity absolutely gets in the way of making good progress and getting him well, because he always has somebody there to enable him.
And Gina's biggest worry is that if she left Brian, his propensity for violence outside the ring would return. And Brian says, no, I'm a teddy bear, and only raises his fist for money or in self-defense.
Brian's been violent with all of his exes that I've spoke to. He's a savage in the ring, and he's a savage outside the ring.
The only way I can be violent is if you pay me $150,000 to $550,000 to be violent in the ring.
One woman had to get reconstructive surgery on her kneecap. He went to prison for approximately 2 years for what was originally charged as attempted murder. It was dropped down to, I think, assault with a deadly, for brutally beating up a man.
I was in a house trying to deal drugs, and a certain individual come towards me, so I was just protecting myself.
Brian said that he tapped the guy in the head with a fire iron stick, but that's not even close to accurate. They literally had to pull fragments of this man's skull out of his brain. Brian's violent behavior serves him very well in the ring. He has to be an animal. He has to be evil. He has to take control. And that's how he was so successful. But he cannot differentiate how to behave in the ring and how to behave out of the ring.
I'm a big softy. Outside the ring, I'm the friendliest guy you'll ever meet.
Brian gets away with so much because he's Brian the Bull Barbosa. Whether it's police, it's judges, courts, he gets away with way more than just the average Joe.
I'm here to get better, not to get criticized or to get put down. I am not by any stretch of the imagination in my right state of mind violent.
But when you're not in your right state of mind, you acknowledge you can be violent.
Absolutely.
Now, Brian's not only a world-class boxer and Gina's fiance, he's also the father of 5 daughters. And one of those daughters is here. We'll be right back.
Brian has 5 daughters. He's a terrible dad. He forgets to call them on their birthday. He probably doesn't even remember when their birthdays are. They don't get anything for Christmas. One of his daughters, Deani, lost her mom when she was 6. Brian's relationship with Deani has been very rocky. She has seen the demon in him, seen him drunk, seen him be verbally abusive to me. I've taken her under my wing. She's very special to me.
Gina says the one championship belt she wishes Brian would win is for best dad. But that just hasn't happened yet. Now, Deani says her dad was absent most of her life, and despite their issues, she says she loves her dad, but just doesn't know how much longer she can sit by and watch him unravel his own life.
I love my father, but I can't be around him if he keeps continuing to be this person that is hurtful to his family, who doesn't treat his family right or his fiance. Recently, we had an altercation at home. My dad was verbally attacking Gina, and I wasn't going to allow that, so I got involved. He pushed me to the side. It was bad. I worry about Gina. Any other woman would have left by now. When I was growing up, my dad was never around. He was in and out of prison. He would send letters promising that we'll be a family and he'll be back. But when he got out, he just disappeared. He would call on birthdays and he wouldn't even know how old I was.
Deani, who lost her mother, was very tough with her because for a while she had resentment towards me. And she was... I don't look at her like how she is today. I look at her how she used to be with... It's not easy. It's not easy, man, because I don't look at her like now, you know? I look at her when she was a kid. I should have been there, but I didn't care about her. I didn't care about me. I didn't care about nothing. I didn't care about nothing.
This trip to Dr. Phil is pretty much the end of the road here. If we can't get better after this, I don't know where we're gonna be.
Johnny, thank you for being here.
Of course.
What do you miss from your father? What do you need from him? What do you miss from him?
I need you to be a father, and I want us to have a normal relationship, and not just me, but for all of us.
So you feel kind of abandoned by your dad?
Yeah, I mean, he says he has abandonment issues, but he put that on me.
What do you hear her saying?
There's nothing I can say, but there's things that I have to do. That's what I hear her saying. Like, I just got to do now. You know, I can't talk no more.
And I want you to understand why some of this is happening. And I sent Brian to, in my opinion, the world-class neuroradiologist, because I wanted to do a scan of his brain. And so we took a really sophisticated look at his brain, and we're going to find out the results when we come back. Joining us is Dr. Bradley Jabbour. Now, he is a leading neuroradiologist, and he is a senior member of the American Society of Neuroradiology. He received the prestigious Certificate of Merit Award from the Radiological Society of North America. He was appointed to the radiology faculty at UCLA, where he was attending professor in head and neck radiology and was chief neuroradiologist at the VA UCLA Medical Center. He's an expert on impact trauma on the brain and has pioneered cutting-edge breakthroughs in imaging. And Dr. Jabbour, thank you for taking the time to see this gentleman and do a workup. You know, we often think about brain injury as something that is a catastrophic thing, like going through the windshield or falling and hitting your head on the sidewalk. But research is showing that repetitive impact on the brain over and over again, not huge impact, but just repetitive impact, can have a significant effect. True?
Yeah. I think we call it subconcussive impact. So multiple smacks on the head where you don't lose consciousness, we found accumulatively actually is worse in some instances than having 1 or 2 concussions.
You've had how many fights?
I probably have like 200 fights.
Yeah.
With at least 10 to 20 punches to the head per round.
You did some very sophisticated evaluation of the brain. Can we go to the screen and let's look at what you found out? Okay. Is it okay to do that? Sorry with you? Let's see what we did. So Dr. Jabbour, come up and let's walk through this. Okay, what are we seeing here, Dr. Jabbour?
So we can see this is Brian's face, and we're looking into the brain. We're using this very advanced technique. We're able to measure the volume and the wiring in the brain.
Okay, and did this show any abnormalities?
Yes, it did.
All right, next slide, please. Okay, so this looks at volume loss, and always in an MRI, the patient's right is our left.
That's correct.
So this is the right-hand side of the brain.
That's correct.
Okay, what do we see?
So we can see very dramatically how much bigger these spaces are on the right side compared to the left. It's just slit-like, slightly bigger. Here, a slit-like much bigger, which means that the brain tissue on the right of the patient has shrunk.
Same thing here.
Same thing here, but in addition, a third space has developed abnormally, which is when this membrane is shaken from multiple punches, a space develops, the membrane opens out and fills with fluid, rushes in, and you end up with 3 spaces, 1, 2, 3 instead of 2.
Do you consider this significant brain pathology?
Yes.
Okay, next slide. Okay, what are we looking at here, doctor?
Here what we're seeing is scar tissue. So we see that white area in multiple areas of the brain.
So we've seen a reduction in size, particularly on the right, the fluid spaces have expanded, and we're seeing scar tissue.
Yes.
So again, this is significant pathology.
This is significant pathology.
Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, now we have a lot of focal information here, right?
Yes. All areas that have low numbers are areas where the brain has shrunk tremendously, so tremendously that 95% of people have a bigger brain than in that area than Brian.
Okay, so for example, we're seeing here in the lateral occipital lobe, he's at the 1 percentile. Means 99% of the people have what?
Have a bigger brain, occipital lobe than him, and this goes along with the frontal lobe is very low. From impact, you get diminished volume in the front and then in the back, because the occipital lobe is in the back and the frontal lobe is there. So your brain is smashing front and back.
Okay, now here we have Brian's brain, and here we have a normal brain, and we can clearly see that in the executive brain there is diminished metabolism in this area. What's the impact of that?
So this is the command central of the brain. And if you switch off this brain, you can end up, this region of brain, you end up with a lot of the symptoms that we heard Brian was talking about: memory issues, control issues, impulse control in the frontal lobes, executive decision making, poor decision making. All of that, it could be related to frontal lobe.
So this isn't just all psychological on his part. He has a neurological inability to do some of the things that he needs to do, or inhibit some of the things that he needs to inhibit.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's sit down and talk about this in more detail. First off, it's clear that Brian has suffered significant brain damage.
It's very significant.
What we know, with particularly the brain being the resilient mechanism that it is that one part of the brain can take over for other parts of the brain, and this is something that can be treated with Brian, and we can wake up some areas that have kind of gone to sleep. We can calm down some areas that are overspeeding, and we can greatly improve his brain function over what it is now.
Absolutely.
What do you hear all of this saying and adding up to, and what questions do you have?
It's depressing for me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm disappointed that this is going on in my life. We went and we had some tests done by other quote unquote good neurologists or doctors or whatever, but nothing like this.
No, not even close.
Not even close, man. I mean, you totally changed my life.
The brain can heal itself if you do the right things. We
Whatever
can bring
it
this
takes.
back.
Whatever it
Correct?
takes.
Yeah, definitely.
He's saying that this can be treated, where these areas can be reinvigorated. You can increase electrical activity and circulatory activity to these areas and wake these areas up. True?
Yeah, yes.
I'm not offering this as an excuse for his behavior.
Yeah.
I'm offering it as an explanation for some of his behavior. And now the responsibility is on him
Yeah.
to grab a hold of this information, act on it, and get himself the care that he needs.
Yeah.
And with this, this brain can be enhanced, and you will see all of those functions lift, including depression, impulse
Memory.
control, memory. A lot.
I
of memory
definitely
can
need
come back.
memory, man.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Incredible. I'm speechless. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Dr.
you so
Jabor is amazing. A hand for Dr. Jabor, please. Now, switching gears, Daily Mail TV has launched its 5th season with amazing exclusives that you're going to hear about next. The launch of season 5 of Daily Mail TV, and they are killing it this year. The Emmy-winning show executive produced by my son Jay, Carla Pennington, and myself, celebrates the very best of DailyMail.com. They just announced a high-profile, controversial journalist is joining their stellar team. More on that in a moment. Now, before we meet the show's award-winning host, Thomas Roberts, let's take a look at what we can expect from the new season.
Daily Mail.
Daily Mail.
Daily Mail.
All new, Season 5.
With 5 great reasons to watch.
Stories you'll only see one place.
Are you ready to catch up?
Photo exclusives that will blow you away.
Are they headed to the altar?
Breaking news.
Pretty revolting behavior.
The biggest stories of the day and the most compelling true crime.
He almost got away with it.
Well, please welcome to the show the host of Daily Mail TV, Thomas Roberts, who joins me live from New York virtually. Thomas, how you doing?
Dr. Phil, it is so great to see you. Thank you so much. And congratulations to you. 20th season for you and Robin. It is amazing. And I would say that you don't look a day over 19 seasons old.
Yeah, well, thanks. Well, congratulations on kicking off Season 5. Your newest recruit at DailyMail.com is Meghan McCain, and you recently talked to her fresh off of her controversial departure from The View.
I just thought it was such an interesting opportunity to work for a news site that I know for a fact incredibly powerful politicians read, my girlfriends from high school read. Like, that's what I love about the Daily Mail is it runs the gamut of audiences. I feel like everybody in America reads it and your traffic numbers don't lie. And being able to have that kind of platform is just, I don't know, I couldn't say no. So I'm really excited.
You and Meghan actually go way back, right? You've known her for quite some time. In fact, she attended your wedding back in 2012, right?
Correct. Meghan is a dear old friend, yes. And I'm so excited that she's coming on board because she has a lot to say, Dr. Phil. You know what I mean? She had a lot to say on The View. The first exclusive interview Meghan gave was to me after leaving that show. And we expect nothing but the best from her because her first column is coming out this week for DailyMail.com. And I want to convince her to be on Daily Mail TV as much as possible. We are very proud to have her on board.
Well, absolutely. One thing that stood out about your shows last week was your exclusive interview with Sharon Osbourne. We know that there's been a lot of controversy with her leaving the talk. Tell me about that.
Yeah, you know, Sharon had a really tough spring in 2021, and her professional identity was rocked after leaving that show, a show that she had been a part of since its inception, and a place where she had felt at home. Now, this is a very telling interview that we had with her, an exclusive, where she invites us into her home and explains many of the details from behind the scenes, the context of things that we did not understand at the time.
We have a clip from that interview. Let's take a look.
I do want to return to TV, but I want to produce shows. You got to evolve. And, you know, what am I going to do? Am I going to be a judge again? No. I'm not going to go on another TV show that's talk, because I know right now it's not a safe place to be. Because the slightest thing and you off half the nation. I don't want to put myself up for that grief. I really don't.
Well, you know, she's really right. It seems like right now there's a hair trigger and people are just ready to leap on anything anybody says, not really who they are, but just what they may say in the moment. YouTube sensation Jake Paul also stopped by. What's going on with him?
Well, you know, Dr. Phil, he has had a very interesting life, and he's only 24 years old, and he's been a part of, say, our pop culture lexicon for a decade now. And he and his brother have made names for themselves with some viral antics. Well, now he is shifting gears, and he wants to focus on the next portion or chapter of his life as he moves on into, you know, the next quarter of his life, and the boxing ring. And this kid is a good fighter, and he is proving that in the ring, and he is also proving how he wants to redeem himself and his image with a new foundation called Boxing Bullies, which is all about going up against, you know, bullying behaviors and education about bullying tactics, but also providing confidence to kids about how to fight back literally. And we're going to see a lot of people with this interview got to see a new side of him one where he shows some empathy, also shows some consideration and some remorse for his past.
It seems to me that he has kind of turned over a new leaf. We'll see how long it lasts. So, Thomas, thank you so much for talking to us. I can't wait to see what you have in store for us coming up this season. It's going to be exciting. I know that. There's never a dull moment around Daily Mail TV, so we'll look forward to it. Thanks for talking to us.
Dr. Phil. Thank you so much. And send my love to Robin. Thank you so much. Great to see you.
Okay. I want to thank all of my guests today, and a special thanks to the host of Daily Mail TV, Thomas Roberts. Season 5 of Daily Mail TV is here. Showtimes can be found at dailymailtv.com. Be sure to tune in to my weekly podcast, Fill in the Blanks, where I discuss and examine interesting topics. I will see you next time. Be safe. Take care.